Silver investors and gold investors may remember just 8 short weeks ago. The internet was abuzz. All of the precious metals YouTube channels were talking about how we were going to get an announcement out of the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They were going to announce on August 22nd a gold-backed common currency. It was all the rage. Everyone was reporting on it, including me, because that was the information that we have. That quickly fizzled away. August came and went. They had the big BRICS meeting in Johannesburg, South Africa, and we didn't hear anything about a gold-backed currency. But here's where it gets interesting. Is there evidence that we may indeed be moving towards a gold-backed currency for those countries? We're going to look at some data, some information, put some things together, and it could lead us to a logical conclusion. Thank you, Doc Ride. Silverback, Gorilla, Stacker, Doc Ride. Thank you for the super chat. The data, the clues, could lead us to the conclusion that we might be heading toward a gold-backed currency for the BRICS nations. But we got even more to talk about. Gainesville put out a piece of research about the amount of gold that China has alone. That relates to it. And we have a top analyst, another analyst, okay, not me, right? A real live analyst. So maybe not as good as us basement dwellers, but nonetheless, we'll listen to what they say. And they're talking about $2,600 gold. Yes, I'm going to yell that. $2,600 gold next year. We know JP Morgan's talking about new record highs for gold next year. Everybody's talking about it. Can we just get it over with already? You know my prediction for next year and how I think things will play out. And we're going to talk about platinum because there was some very interesting data released yesterday regarding platinum. We know Neil Hahn, the platinum guru. He probably knows about this. He may, if he's on this live stream, be able to share some additional data in the comments, but it's a big deal you're here. Thank you guys, okay? Please give this a thumbs up. I'm going to give you 2 seconds. Press the thumbs up. And I'll ring the bell twice. Let's dig into what's going on with the BRICS, gold-backed currency. Look, you know, and maybe you believe, do you believe that the world has never gone off the gold standard? Do you believe what John Exter said with Exter's Pyramid? Gold is always been, always will be, gold, silver, the base of the monetary system. But explicitly, are we waiting for word from the BRICS countries that they are developing a gold-backed currency? Now, there's some speculation that next year at the meeting in Russia, we'll get even more of a official announcement on that. But what do we know right now that if we put these pieces together could lead us to believe, right? Develop your thesis. That's what we're doing. You're thinking, you're listening to me, you're listening to other people, developing your thesis as to why we could very well see a gold-backed currency sooner as opposed to later. Let me read a couple interesting. This came from, oh my gosh, this came off of Kitco of all places. BRICS nations may be stockpiling gold. Stockpiling gold to support a new currency. That comes from dailyfx.com. Says here, China and Russia may be setting aside some of their massive gold production. Remember that, because we're going to talk about that in a second. To support a new currency to rival the U.S. dollar. According to Daniel McCarthy, strategist at dailyfx.com, he says, quote, the gold price continues to oscillate around 1940 U.S. dollars going into the Tuesday's trading session as market headwinds may be offset by geopolitical factors that have seen volatility in the precious metal. Okay, hold on. He talks about the 10-year bond. We already know about that. Okay. Of course, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since the BRICS meeting, and the currents of demand have been tilted as the BRICS seek an alternative to the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. Much has recently been made of the potential for a gold-backed currency to allow these countries to bypass the U.S. dollar. Okay? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay? This is where it gets interesting. McCarthy said that even though other challenges to the U.S. dollar dominance have failed, China's role in the international gold market and the recent behavior of other BRICS members could mean a different outcome this time around. This is one of the kickers here. On a recent trip to Western Australia, one of the largest physical gold-producing regions globally, a number of contacts highlighted that almost every ounce of the yellow metal, gold, that is, currently being dug out of the ground in Australia was being put on a ship to, can you answer that question? China. He said, such anecdotes of other BRIC members taking similar actions have been reported elsewhere. Interesting. Almost all the gold coming out of Australia was observed to being shipped to China. It gets even more crazy interesting. Oh, hey. 10 rings of the bell, 1 ring of the bell for each 10 thumbs up. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. Remember, it helps. It's external validation for me, amongst other things. But he says, keep in mind that Australia, China, and Russia are also the top producers of gold. What was that list? Who are the top producers? We're gonna review that in a second. Australia, China, and Russia, the top producers of gold. Remember that. It might be the case that gold hoarding has been a feature of the price action lately. Then he says that Russia will be assuming the BRICS chairmanship next year, blah, blah, blah. We know that Putin wants a gold-backed currency. Russia wasted no time in placing its imprimatur on the block following the conclusion of this year's summit. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, who is also currently the BRICS Sherpa, told a press briefing in Moscow on August 25th that Russia's goal will be to strengthen the bloc's role and authority as it assumes leadership of the BRICS. He also made it clear that Russia was very focused on pushing forward with the bloc's de-dollarization initiatives. Consultations are continuing on the creation of an effective payment infrastructure within the BRICS framework, independent of the West, as well as secure platforms for multilateral cross-border settlements. So, when we talk about BRICS and we talk about a gold-backed currency, everybody forgot about it, right? Nobody's talking about it anymore. We're talking about it because we're basement dwellers and we know there's something interesting going on here. I pulled up some data, okay? I missed a super chat. I'm going to recognize that in 1 second. Thank you. Let me recognize it now. Super chats are important. Hello, Jake's Custom Parts. Let me see who I missed. I missed a super chat. I apologize. Shadow Work, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Doc Ride, again. Silverback Gorilla says hi to everyone. Thank you, Doc Ride. Guys, super chats are very helpful. Help support the channel. So does Pimbex, the online bullion dealer. If you're like China, or you're like Russia, or you're like some of the other BRICS countries that like to hoard precious metals, go check out Pimbex. They're an online bullion dealer. They're a sponsor of Ron's Basement. This is made possible thanks to the support of people like you in the super chats. Thank you, Ron McAdams, Silver Basement Preacher, yes, but also by Pimbex, okay? They're quality, best prices. I think Pimbex is best. Please check them out. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Hold on a minute here. I did some research. I thought, do you know who the biggest gold producers in the world are by country? Think about this for a second. I want you to think about it. Who do you think produces more gold than anyone else in the world? If you said China, you're right. 375 tons of gold a year. What do you think they do with that gold? That's right. They hoard it. So remember that. The Chinese are producing more gold than anyone, and they're keeping it in their country. Now, who's the next country? The next biggest gold producer? Oh, Russia? Yes, that's correct. Russia produced over 324 metric tons last year. Interesting. Those are two of the BRICS countries that are talking about, and there's this speculation, quote unquote, might be backing their currency with gold. Who's the third biggest gold producer in the world? Australia with 314 tons. So China, 375. Russia, 324 tons. Australia, 314. What are we getting? So we know China and Russia are hoarding gold. Makes sense. What about Australia? Didn't we just hear that a lot of the gold in Australia is being shipped to China? So let's put this all together. What are the clues? Right? What are the clues? Countries that are talking about de-dollarizing, countries that have said that they are interested in having a common currency, many times also been said explicitly to be backed by real assets, right? Putin said it himself, right? Talking about the dollar, that it's imaginary fairyland money. So you got the biggest gold producer, the second biggest gold producer, hoarding their gold, and the third biggest producer shipping a lot of their gold to those first two, which are part of the BRICS. Who's after that? Next, okay, we have Canada, the United States are the fourth and fifth, Ghana, Peru, Indonesia, Mexico, Uzbekistan, and Mali. That rounds off the list of the world's biggest gold producers. And that doesn't really matter. What matters is the top of the list and what those countries are doing in terms of de-dollarizing. Look, we don't like to talk about it. It's not a pleasant subject for the United States, for those of us that live in the United States and in the Western countries for that matter. But the world is changing. The world's bifurcating. These countries are moving away from the dollar. Hello? 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 These big changes, right? Like we feel like maybe you're like me, right? I'm 53 years old. Maybe you're 73. Maybe you're 33. Maybe you're 40. It doesn't matter. If you're 73, if you're 83, basically for our whole lives, we've never had this big level of change. So it doesn't seem real, maybe. But guys, if we broaden our horizons, right, and pop our head out of the sand and look at history, these big changes do happen. It could lead to some very challenging times for the Western economies, for the United States. Look, I don't like it. You didn't cause it, did you? Are you one of the leaders in Washington that spent frivolously, put us in this situation, weaponize the dollar so that the world is saying, sorry, no more? You got to put yourself in the shoes of these other countries. Look, I'm a patriot. I love my country. I don't necessarily agree with some of the recent things that the country has done, and that's okay. It's America. I think I can say that without getting in trouble. But if you put yourself in their shoes, you got to think about two big things. Number one, they've been forced to use the dollar. The dollar is the king of the world. Unfortunately, because the United States exports inflation, that's our biggest export, is inflation. The dollars that foreign countries have held have gone down in value. They've depreciated, just like you and me, right? I mean, it's the same thing. So already they're being faced with the dollar losing value, but the icing on the cake was the weaponization in their minds. They're thinking, first off, we got to hold these dollars, and they're going down in value. And then on top of it, the double whammy kicker, flicker, whatever you want to call it, is that it can be seized from us. It can be taken away. It's been weaponized. Like, we're done. Okay? So the world is bifurcated. Now, the biggest news that nobody's talking about, in this whole situation. Nobody. You want to get a cross-eyed look from your neighbor when you go out to your mailbox today? If you see your neighbor, Jerry, like I do, and Jerry loves to talk. And I love Jerry, but Jerry loves to talk. All I'll have to do is talk about the petrodollar, and he'll keep walking, right? Because people don't understand. That's the biggest thing going right now that nobody understands. Very few. Now, you're a basement dweller, right? You're willing to dig in a little deeper, but the fact that the world is moving away, Saudi Arabia is joining BRICS, hello, right? That's not a real good sign for the petrodollar. That is the petrodollar since 1974, when Henry Kissinger went to the Saudis and set that deal up. That is what the dollar lived off of for the last 50 years. That is coming to an end. Guys, I can't emphasize enough. You got to be ready for some really rocky times ahead of us. Rough seas. I don't know how you want me to say it. Abram Taylor, welcome to the basement. Good to see you here, my friend from Goldback. But you got to be ready. We got to be ready, okay? Rough seas, however you want to say it. You know, we're going. You got to be like a 4x4 Toyota for the ground we are heading into. Maybe it'll all work out. But I don't know about you. But when I look at everything going on, I get a feeling that we're going to be in for some real challenges. Okay. Let's get back, because we got more to talk about. Oh, shoot. Bear with me, guys. I'm not leaving you. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Okay? Oh, I want to add this point, if you will allow me. We also need to remember, on top of it all, if nothing else, what we know about gold being hoarded by the Chinese and the Russians, all the Australian gold going there. We also know that the world central banks as a whole, and it doesn't include the West, have been buying gold. You've heard that a zillion times, but add that to what we just talked about. Doesn't it start to feel like we could see a gold-backed currency? I mean, maybe not officially yet, it's not gold-backed, but it already is backed by gold, you know? I mean, even the U.S. dollar, you can convert your dollars for gold or silver or platinum. It is the fact that we can still convert it. You can argue that we are on a gold. The dollar is being measured against gold every single day. Same thing with silver. So these are crazy, crazy, interesting times that we're moving into. On that note, we had a guy from Gainesville make an interesting, very interesting prediction. I don't know if you call it prediction, but Gainesville Coins, they put out some great analytical research. Jan Nieuwenhuis says he now estimates, his estimate for China's official gold reserves right now is over 5,000 tons. He uses a variety of different sources, the World Gold Council, other information, pieces it all together, and he's saying that conservatively, right now, the Chinese have 5,000 tons of gold. How many tons of gold does the United States have? Do you know? Do you know how many tons of gold the United States has? Think about that for a second. You know how many tons of gold? We didn't even talk about India. We talked about Russia and China taking all that gold from Australia. But we didn't even talk about India. You know that India, not the Indian government, not the Indian central bank. No. Indian households, right? Like you're sitting in your house right now. If you were in India and you were sitting in your house, you probably have some gold, because Indian households alone have 25,000 tons of gold. Estimated. Could be much more. Thank you, Ozman911. Good morning, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. So appreciated. Man, I sometimes I wish I lived in India. But let's get back to the United States. How much gold do we have? Do we really know? It's in Fort Knox, but nobody's really seen it For what, 50 years, 60 years? Oh, what was that guy's name? He creeped me out. He was the Treasury Secretary, Mnuchin. Hello, Sean. Oh, my gosh. Man, you guys are blowing me away with super generous super chats. Thank you, my fellow basement dwellers. Thank you, Sean. Right? Mnuchin, he creeped me out. I'm sorry. He's ex-Goldman Sachs guy, and he went there with his girlfriend and like tweeted out a thing like the gold's here or something like that. Well, I'm sorry, but as an American citizen, I want a little more assurance than a tweet. How about a full-blown audit? I know Senator Ron Paul had called for that. Why can't we audit the gold? Anyway, that's not my battle. I'm not, there's other people that are more into that. But if we do have 8,000 tons of gold and the Chinese have 5,000, they're gaining on us. And the Chinese are the world's biggest producer of gold, and they're sucking gold in from Australia, and we know, I need to talk in my nighttime voice. And we know that the word on the street is, like the COMEX and the LBMA, that the Chinese are also sucking gold and other precious metals out of the West. So put it all together. Let's go back to that one more time. Are the Chinese planning? Are the Russians planning? Would the Indians like to have a currency backed by gold? It sure seems to make sense, right? What about the Bank for International Settlements? Do you know who they are? The Bank for International Settlements. Trust me, it's not. They're not in their guys sitting in their basement in St. Louis, right? The Bank for International Settlements is the central bank of the central banks. What did they do for gold? They made it a tier 1 asset, physical gold, physical. Tier 1 asset. That's the highest level characterization. That's not the right word. Anyway, it's the highest level that it could be categorized. Man, I can't believe I forgot that word. Whew. Anyway, it's the highest level category, the most liquid. It's real. Okay, what is that telling you? What is that telling us? Right? Yeah, silver, gold, platinum. We're going to get to platinum. We got some news on platinum as well. Hold on a second here. Oh my God, I'm the worst with this technology. I'll tell you what. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's talk about $2,600 per ounce gold. Who said that, I wonder? Who said that? Let's see if I can pull that article up, because it's another new, here we go. Here we go. This one's from our friend Niels Christensen at Kitco. The gold market could hit $2,600 as the U.S. dollar index falls below 104. DeCarly Trading's Carly Garner says. All right, let's see what she has to say. It says here, the U.S. dollar continues to dominate the gold market. We talked about that earlier. Remember the picture? Do you guys want me to go get the picture? It's Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, but I had a graph earlier. The dollar, and that's what it says right here, continues to dominate the gold market. However, momentum in the greenback could be running out of steam. No, we like that, as the Federal Reserve is unlikely to continue to maintain its aggressive monetary policy stance through year end, according to one market analyst. We got 200 thumbs up. For those of you who are new to the basement, this is the bell we ring when we get 200 thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, back to the article. The dollar's going to run out of steam, okay? The Fed is in a box. We've talked about that. Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve, is they are in trouble. They know it. They're only going to tell you the tip of the iceberg. They aren't going to tell you what they're really talking about at the Fed. If we knew what they were really concerned about, it might even blow our minds. But the Fed's in trouble because in a recent interview with Kitco News, Carly Garner, co-founder of the brokerage firm DeCarly Trading, said that gold, as it holds critical support levels, is in a good position to hit new all-time highs when the U.S. dollar's momentum starts to fade. Guys, let me you know what? Look, I'm going to be gone. Look, you're going to be okay. All right? Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to leave for like 3 seconds. I'll be right back. 1, 2, 3. I'm back. See? I don't cuss and I don't lie. I want to show you something. Right? This belongs to Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, but this is a graph that I made of the dollar index. That's what she's talking about, what can propel the price of gold higher. 1985 to 2020. I know I'm bad at math, but that's about 40 years. That 2025 would be 40 years. That's the dollar. And I know we already had some comments on what that looks like. Anyway, the dollar has only been this high during those periods. It's only been that high like 6 or 7 years out of the last 40 years. And you got to realize the gold, silver, platinum, they've been like the Rocky Balboa of the financial world. They have been just pummeled by the dollar, by that strong dollar that we've been dealing with now for the last, 3 years, okay? When that goes back, remember the dollar's only been this high just a few times in the last number of years. When that reverses, when the dollar goes back down, that's what she's talking about. That's going to be a great time for silver, gold, and platinum, okay? Garner says she expects the U.S. dollar index to hold resistance below 105 ultimately, and that's about where we are right now. She sees the U.S. dollar retesting support at 99. If we break below that support level, we are probably going back towards the mid-90s. And in that case, that's a game changer for gold and silver and platinum. I'm going to add that. She said, suddenly we're not looking at 2,000 gold, but new all-time highs. Let me repeat that, right? Because we need it. I mean, guys, we've been pummeled, man. Right? Do you feel pummeled if you're invested in the metals? I do. I know some of you are going to say, you got to be tough and you got to blah, blah, blah. Well, I am tough, right? I'm here. I'm talking. I'm standing. You're standing. But we can also say we've been pummeled, right? I mean, if I go out for a jog, which I never do because I hate exercising, but if I did and it was raining and the wind was blowing 20 miles an hour while I was trying to run, I would come back and say, yeah, I went for a run, but I got pummeled. We've been pummeled. It's okay to say that. It could change. And you know what I say. When we get to 2,100, baby, $2,600 gold is right around the corner. Garner said that one of the reasons why she sees so much potential in gold is because of how resilient it has been in the last few months, while bond yields in the U.S. remain near 15-year highs. We talked about that earlier. The 10-year bond yield still, right before I came on, at 4.3%. That is going to wreak havoc for the government, for business, and for consumers. Nonetheless, I digress. Gold has held critical support around its 20-day moving average. Okay, she also said, we're basically sitting on the biggest net short in bonds on record, and at some point that's going to unwind itself. This trade will be unwound, and that is going to push interest rates lower. When positioning is this extreme, it's just a matter of time. Okay? I'll read this quickly to you guys. One factor that could spark a sell-off is the Federal Reserve shifts to a more neutral monetary policy stance, leaving interest rates unchanged through year end. According to the CME FedWatch tool, markets see a more than 90% chance of no rate hike later this month and only a 50-50 chance in November. Okay. Yep. So that's it. While Garner is bullish on gold, she added that the market could remain volatile in the near term, with prices potentially retesting support around $1,900. We're going to talk about both sides of the coin. She said that if bearish momentum picks up, she would not be surprised to see prices fall to $1,980 an ounce. Wait a minute, $1,980 an ounce? That sounds good. Anyway. There we have it, guys. Another analyst talking about $2,600 gold next year. Will it happen? We're going to be here. We're going to find out. Let's touch on platinum, right? Platinum's another one of our precious metals friends. Some interesting news coming out yesterday about platinum. Basically, in a nutshell, platinum market is on track this year to see a 1 million ounce deficit. The thesis behind platinum is very, very interesting because it's used in a lot of industrial applications, used in car catalytic converters. Platinum's also used extensively, or there's a potential for more robust demand for platinum for the hydrogen economy, right? Producing energy from hydrogen. I'm not a guru in that, but one other interesting thing about platinum is that almost all of it comes from BRICS nations, South Africa and Russia, if I have that correct. All right, let's jump to the comments, guys. Richard Cooper says hello to Susie. I'll say hello to Susie. Everybody please tell Susie thank you. She does her best to really help out with the channel. What a wonderful wife, wonderful person. She does a lot behind the scenes. Jake's Custom Parts. Thank you. Yes, I love James Rickards as well. Of course, Coin Shop Chris. Hey, guys, type 6 for... that almost rhymes. Type 6 for Coin Shop Chris. Ricky's House of Crap. Good to see you, my friend. You know you have one of my favoriteest usernames. Daniel, Shadowwork, Ken D. Look at all those people that love Coin Shop Chris, right? Huh? Coin Shop Chris. They love you, Coin Shop Chris, as much as you love ding dongs, my friend. For those of you who don't know, Coin Shop Chris loves ding dongs. Rumor has it, just a rumor, that he can consume upwards of 5 or 6 ding dongs per day. More on that later. I want to say thank you one more time. I am spoiled by the super chats, guys. Never expected, but always appreciated. Okay. We're going to be in, here we go. Sean, man, thank you. Ozman, thank you. Thank you. Who's got the funny comment of the day? Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jake. Yeah, guys, this is about us coming together, right? Sharing. I mean, we want to make strategic moves. Yeah, we come together, we share, but we're real serious about the metals. We're real serious about protecting ourselves, protecting our families as we move into, this is going to be, I think it's going to be a crazy, I think we could see craziness times 3 as we head into the next 6 to 12 months. I'm not guaranteeing it. I don't have a crystal ball. Everything could be fine, right? But it sure feels like right now we're in the eye of a hurricane, right? Hey, look around. Everything's great. It's sunny outside. And the second half of a hurricane is always the strongest. So that's why we're here. We're here to have fun, to make friends. Absolutely. That's so critical, so key, to kind of challenge each other. I mean, today, right? Today, the big thought was BRICS and a gold-backed currency, BRICS and the gold standard, right? I mean, are the BRICS, if China is the biggest gold producer in the world, Russia is the second biggest gold producer in the world, and those countries are hoarding their gold. Thank you, Henny. Wow, that's awesome. Henny, thank you. And we know from reports, this isn't me in my basement saying, are you in your family room, or I don't know where you are, but you're not like sitting there saying, yeah, I bet Australia's shipping a lot of their gold to China. No, we got it from word on the street, right? That somebody knows and saw that we've got China taking a lot of gold from Australia on top of the gold they already produce as the world's biggest producer, right? And so are we heading towards a de facto gold standard? I don't care. I know. I am passionate. I don't know how you feel about this, but gosh darn it, the world has never been off the gold standard. Sorry. And John Extra agrees with me. Maybe you don't agree with me. That's okay, but I'll argue that. That's what I know to be true. So could the United States be forced back on the gold standard, right? Have we ever gone off the gold standard? But if the rest of the world starts to value their currencies and to a stronger degree, even without an official announcement, could we be forced into a situation? You know, that's when we hear about $10,000 gold, $8,000 gold, measured in fiat money, right? Unicorn fart dust. But, you know, $15,000 gold, $20,000 gold. I'm not saying we're going to see that, you know. I will say we're going to see 2,600 next year. I believe that's extremely likely. Absolutely, I could be wrong. Don't go bet the farm and buy a bunch of options or derivatives or whatever, futures based on that. But when I look at all the moving pieces, I see it absolutely happening. If things get even more extreme, think about this. Think about this. This is another one of these things, and that's why we're here, is to share these ideas with each other. Think about how dramatically the world has changed just in the last 3 years. This bifurcation that's occurred just in the last 3 years. Now, I want you to imagine if the next 3 years we match that level of change, that degree of change, right? The world continues to move the de-dollarization. 3 years ago, think about this, okay? Think about what's the 2020? Think about September of 2020. Heck, think 4 years ago, September of 2019. And you're watching me in my basement. There was a basement, but anyway, nonetheless, you're watching. I'm down here. Had you ever heard of de-dollarization? Have you? 4 years ago? Have you heard of the word de-dollarization? Think of how crazy the world has changed in the last 4 years, from September of 2019 through today. We didn't know about de-dollarization. We didn't really, we knew about the BRICS, but it was, whatever, you know. Think about how crazy the world has changed in 4 years. Now, look for the next 4 years. Even if we change a third as much, half as much, God forbid if the world changes as much or even more in the next 4 years, where are we going to be? Where are gold, silver, and platinum going to be? It could be exciting. It could be legendary, right? And again, you want to protect yourself. You know, we want to deal with this, navigate these times together. We will, okay? I will be here every single day. Every day, right? One day at a time, but every day. I hope you decide to come back as well. I appreciate all the thumbs up. Can we get to 300? Oh, I just noticed we're at 277. Okay, I'm going to beg you now. You want me to beg? Like my mom said I was a good beggar when I was growing up. Please, if you do one more thing today, from the bottom of my heart, I'm begging you, please give this a thumbs up. Press that thing that looks like that, because if we get to 300 thumbs up, maybe just one more day, one more time, right? Because I'm afraid I'm going to start losing sponsors. It's kind of unprofessional, but I will ring the bell with my nose, okay? All right? I will ring the bell with my nose. But we got to get to 300 thumbs up, guys. Oh, we did it! Hey, good job! Thank you, guys. There we go. It's the last time I'm ever doing that. Hey, be good. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.